Hey boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of Think Different Television. Yeah, so today we're going to simplify radicals by stealing perfect squares. Okay, so we have this right here, so copy these down. Let's see if we can answer these, shall we? So on the top, pause the video, copy these down if you need. Simplifying radicals today. So why are we simplifying radicals? Well, let's see. So what's the square root of 4? Which is basically what number times itself is 4. That's what you're asking yourself. What number times itself is 4? That's 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. What number times itself is 16? Yeah, 4. What number times itself is 25? Yeah, 5. 5 times 5 is 25. What number times itself is 27? I have no idea. Well, I know the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 36 is 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. 27 is between 25 and 36. It's closer to 25, so it was like about 5.2 something. I don't know. So let's take our calculator. Square root of 27. Bam. Yeah, so I was pretty close. So 5.1961, this is an irrational number, just goes on forever. So how do you simplify this? So since this is not an integer like the rest of these are, we have to figure out ways to simplify these, because I'm not always going to write an irrational number out. This is what you do. And this sort of has a guide down here on your PDF. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do radical 12. We're going to simplify this because we don't know the square root of 12 off the top of our heads. It's an irrational number. So I'm going to ask myself whether it is divisible by 4, divisible by 9, divisible by 16, divisible by 25. Why? Well, what I'm doing is I'm seeing if any perfect squares can be divided in here. So the perfect squares, let's write them down in our notes. So perfect squares, so 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 6 is 36, 7 times 7 is 49, and you can just keep going forever and ever and ever and ever like that. So these are the perfect squares. So my goal is to see whether I can find a perfect square in here and simplify. So I'm looking at 12. Which of these perfect squares goes into 12? So 1, I'm not really looking at 1 because that's not going to change anything. So I start here. Is 12 divisible by 4? The answer is yes. So 4 times 3, you have to use your number sense and your times tables for this. So 4 times 3 is 12. Well, I can break this down into radical 4 times radical 3. You can split the radical when you're multiplying numbers inside the radical like that. And I know the square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 3, I do not know that. And so square root of 12 and 2 radical 3 are equal. So I got that by taking a perfect square and finding the square root of it. You could do 6 times 2, equals 12, but neither of these are perfect squares, so that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to find the factors that are perfect squares. If you don't believe me, check it out. So radical 12 is that. 2 times radical 3. Ooh, same answer. Ding, 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 ding. It's the same thing. This is a good way to check on your calculator if you want. Next, number 2, radical 20. So start here. Does 4 go into 20? 9, 16, 25? Well, the only thing that I can figure out is 4, right? So it's 4 times 5 is 20. Yeah, I can do 10 times 2, but those are not perfect squares. That's not going to do anything for me. So that's radical 4 times radical 5. Square root of 4 is 2. Radical 5. The square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 5, I don't know what that is. I'm going to keep it as a radical. I'm not going to write some complicated, huge decimal. All right, next, number 3. Which of these goes into 24? Yeah, 4. 4 times 6. That's the perfect square that divides evenly. 8 times 3 is not going to work for this one. Or 12 times 2, no. So square root of 4 times square root of 6, which is 2 square root of 6. Don't believe me? Square root of 24, bam. 2 square root of 6, bam. Same thing. Yeah. Okay. Square root of 40. Try it on your own. Go. Whew, what'd you get? 4 times 10. Yeah. So square root of 4 times square root of 10, which is 2 radical 10. There you go. All right, number 5. Square root of 45. What is that going to be? Well, 4 does not divide evenly into 45, so that's not in play. So this one is not divisible by 4. Is it divisible by 9? Yeah, it is. 9 times 5. That's how important it is to have this list of perfect squares written out. So 9 times 5. So that's square root of 9 times square root of 5, which is, what number times itself is 9? 3. 3 radical 5. So square root of 45 and 3 radical 5 are equal. All right, now let's talk about this. Square root of 48. Now it's getting a little more challenging. Square root of 48. So does 4 go into 48? The answer is yes. But something else also goes into 48. That would be 16. Because you can try just by doing this. So 48 divided by 16. If you don't get a remainder, it's divisible. It's 3. So 16 times 3 is 48. So when you have an option of 4 or 16 are both divisible, always go with the bigger factor. And I'll explain why in a second. So what number times itself is 16? That would be 4. Okay? So what happens if you just didn't see 16? If you just say, like, okay, write this down too. Because this may happen to you. 4 times 12 is 16. And that's right. So let's say you didn't do this part, you did 4 times 12. Okay, cool. So that's square root of 4 times square root of 12. So that's 2 radical 12. Now you may think this is the answer, but this is not entirely the answer because you can simplify this even further. We did it right up here. So you can do this. If you pick the lower factor, you can do it, but you have to do 2 steps. So this is 2. What perfect square goes into 12? We already did that, right? 4 times 3. So now I'm simplifying again. So I did it the first time with 48. Now I'm doing it again with 12. That's okay. You can do it multiple times. So 2 times square root of 4 times square root of 3. 2 times 2 times radical 3. 2 times 2 is 4 radical 3. Ding, ding. I got the same answer, but I got it in a roundabout way, in 2 steps rather than just 1. So I get the same answer. So if you've picked the wrong factor, don't worry. If you just keep using the same rules, you will get the right answer. Next, number 7. Square root of 54. All right, square root of 54 is, what perfect square? 4 go in there? No, if you don't know, let's do this. 54 divided by 4. It gives me a decimal. It doesn't go in evenly. It doesn't work. But I know that's 9 times 6, which is square root of 9 times square root of 6, which is 3 square root of 6. Got it. Radical 80. Do it yourself. What'd you get? 16 times 5. You can do 4 times 20, but you have to do 2 steps. So that's going to be 4 radical 5. If you did 4 radical 20, sorry, my bad, 4 times 20, if you did that, that would be 2 radical 20, and then that would be 4 times 5, 2 times 2 times radical 5, which would be 4 radical 5. That's what you would do. Oh, sorry, you can't see that? That's what your work would be like. Okay, now, here's what you got to do. Matchy match to finish up. Matchy match to finish up. Check it out. So, here we go. So, all these left column ones, these are the problems. Here are the answers. So, you got to match it up. So, radical 8, what's the answer on the right column? Radical 45, what's the answer on the right column? So, this helps you check. Okay? So, go ahead and do all of these right now and check your answers over here. If you don't have the answer over here, you jacked it up, you got it wrong. Ready, set, go. Okay, I'm going to go fast over these. Let's see if you got the matchy match. So this is square root of 4 times 2, which is radical 4 times radical 2, which is 2 radical 2. Bam, got it. Is that there? 2 radical 2, yeah, 12. So L and 12 are matched up. Cool. All right, going faster now. Radical 9 times 5, which is radical 9 times radical 5, which is 4 radical 5. Got it. 50 is, 25 times 2. Hopefully you got that one. So that's radical 25 times radical 2, which is 5 radical 2. If I'm going too fast, slow down, pause the video. Radical 12, we did that before. 4 times 3, which is 2 radical 3. 98. Ooh, this one's tough. Yeah. 98. I had to do this. 98 divided by 98 divided by 49, my bad, is 2. So I had to go all the way up to 49 and find a perfect square that went into 98. So square root of 49 times square root of 2, which is 7 radical 2. Yeah, hopefully you got that one. Square root of 48, we did that before. 16 times 3, which is 4 radical 3. And last one, which is square root of 25 times 5, which is 5 radical 5, which is the last one. Cool. Good work. Keep crushing it. Nice job.